From a casting director to an actor, and now, while that journey wasn't enough, she decided to be a warrior. With her amazing talent, personality, and intelligence, she is now also recognized as the national advocate by the UNDP for Sustainable Development Goals in India. Ladies and gentlemen, with me, we have an impeccable personality, a woman with a goal, Bollywood actress Bhumi Pednekar. Hi Bhumi, welcome to ET Insight.
Thank you so
And
much.
I'm so glad about the whole recognition of being the national advocate by UNDP.
Thank you.
There are a few questions. I want you to answer them with your understanding, with an insight to what we are looking forward for.
That's the intent.
Let's start with the first one,
Yes.
and the most famous one rather, Climate Warrior. Yeah, a name that's actually been breezing around amongst the youth, adults, corporates right now. What was the seeding thought of this campaign?
I think the passion or the want or the intent of doing something for the environment started off when I was very, very young. It was many years later I realized that I probably grew up with climate anxiety, which a lot of people in the younger generation have right now. But that time I just didn't realize that I had it because I would have sleepless nights. This was always a topic of discussion with my family, friends. I was always so worried. And, as a young child, my questions were very different, but they actually were meant for the same thing. Like, I would ask my mom, oh, what would happen when all the water would run out? And my solution as an 8-year-old then was, oh, maybe I will be like so rich and powerful that I'll have a go down full of mineral water. Obviously, that was not the solution.
True.
Which I only realized after growing up. So I think it was just the constant information that we received, through school. Like when I was in school, climate change was already being taught. But nobody ever realized that the problem would be so accelerated that our generations would deal with it. And when that started to happen with the kind of forest fires, drought, famine, flood, climate change related migration, just the human atrocities that started to happen, the atrocities on all the different species, we don't ever understand the collateral damage that happens on animals, on our marine life, due to climate change that is accelerated and the magnitude of which has increased so much because of us, because of the human race. So obviously when I became an actor, I realized that, okay, I'm at a place of power. It was supported by the cinema that I do, which was primarily message led. And I realized that, okay, I have an audience. I have a set of people that believe in my credibility. And I think it's time to kind of use that in a more productive way for something that I feel so strongly about. And that's where Climate Warrior came up.
Well, when you just said about your cinema, Bhumi, and I would not disagree a moment to this point that every single cinema, your stories, your acting has always envisioned a goal. There's always a climax that has some understanding to the industry, to the society.
Yes.
With Climate Warrior, what is that envisioned goal that we're looking forward for?
I think the goal behind Climate Warrior is to have a platform that propagates advocacy around the harmful effects of climate change, that creates enough awareness where people understand that climate change is the largest looming threat that humanity has ever dealt with. The idea is to celebrate champions, climate warriors like me,
Right.
that have been working tirelessly towards the cause so that we can let the future generations know that we care. The idea is to have strong action. With Climate Warrior, there isn't a particular agenda. Everything related to climate change and however we can be a part of the solution is what Climate Warrior is.
I think I could contribute at least a percent of what you have been.
How lovely is that?
Yeah, that would be great. That would be really great. I mean, at least there's some cause and there's some contribution to the society back, and that's something we all should be looking forward for. Well, let's talk about the UNDP. Yeah,
Yes.
being India's national advocate, that's
Yes.
a big title. How do you see India's future in achieving these goals that we're talking about in sustainable development?
As you rightly said, this position comes with a lot of responsibility, and I feel extremely honored, humbled, and very, very overwhelmed that this came my way. but I'm completely ready to be the best representative possible. I think I also thrive in, I think when I say giving back, it sounds very, very pompous, but I think that's what I thrive in. I thrive in the fact that I can help a human life or make any kind of positive impact. But coming back to the latter part of your question, with the support of the SDGs, I don't think we can kind of get India as an independent being in the larger problem.
Sure.
The truth is that it is the developed countries that have been the polluters, that have been the abusers. So I feel the larger problem, this is a global issue.
Totally, yeah.
I love the fact that India is a green country. We have been supporting climate causes for the longest time.
True.
Yes, there is a lot of development that we need to do within our country as well.
course.
So I really hope that all the 17 SDGs, right from women's and children's rights to climate change to equal right to education, food, basic natural resources,
Right.
to safeguarding all our other species, I can actively be a voice in achieving all of those and at least create enough awareness. I think that is my former and my main duty as an advocate for the SDGs, that I become a model strong enough for people to understand that okay, this is the path that we need to take for a healthier, greener, more sustainable future in every aspect possible.
I think there was a very smart choice of you being the advocate, a young person yet influencing public figure. What do you think the youth and the grassroots organizations can actually do or play a role in these SDGs for India?
See, it can never be a solo journey. The youth, young adults, they are the present and the future of any country. They are the decision makers. They are the ones that change, that revolutionize the current scenario. So
True.
we need complete support because this is for their future.
True.
Even for grassroots organizations, I keep saying this time and again that it is the more powerful and the more successful and the ones that have easy access that are the abusers. So it is very important for us to mobilize the grassroots level organizations so that there can be development over there as well. Today, a farmer in our country needs to know what his rights are. He needs to know what kind of a pesticide he has access to. He needs to know what the government policies are because we have many to support our farmers. Unfortunately, a lot of that information doesn't reach, and that can only happen through a holistic system of organizations.
Let me interrupt you there, Bhumi. And when you made this point that educative content is something that's missing out to the right audience, and I totally agree to that. How do you see yourself empowering and making sure that we engage with this kind of content to the right kind of audience?
When I started off my journey as an actor, the platform of social media was not as strong as it is today.
True.
I just feel like social media is maybe one of my strongest tools, in spreading that message. Today, everybody in the smallest parts of our country has a phone that they have access to, which is so phenomenal.
That's
And I say it in the humblest way possible that I really hope that through these educative tools, me being the person who takes it to them, that we can reach far and wide and make sure that the message, the information, the knowledge that is needed for a better future reaches them.
true.
And obviously through my cinema. I think, I don't think there can be a larger medium than cinema for a large mindset shift to happen.
True, that is, which actually is a follow-up that how innovation, technology and digital platforms you think are leveraging and accelerating India's progress towards these SDGs?
Technology is the biggest ally for any kind of development.
Right.
If today you see just the tech and development that has happened around one of the SDG goals being climate change and sustainability, it is insane. Sustainable packaging, we have sustainable, even in the medical field, there has been such a big revolution, like where every day I read up on newer ways of making medicine more sustainable,
Right.
Fashion, food, everything, and it is all tech based. Like without technology, I don't think we can slow down the effect. It is our biggest ally, and that is a fact.
That's so true. While we talk about this technology and digital platforms, innovation, there is a pinch of creativity and I have come across a few innovative ideas that people have come up for sustainability. Someone's trying to reduce the carbon footprint by turning into an ink. So what are your thoughts? How did that idea sound to you? What was
It was fantastic. In fact, I feel like, there are so many young entrepreneurs. Like I think they're based out of Bangalore,
That's
if I
correct.
remember correctly. I'm so
Yes.
sorry because there were so many of those we do, and on a regular basis, there's so
Right.
many young minds and entrepreneurs, and like people that are passionate, that I meet. But I feel like there's so many of these phenomenal ideas, right? Like today, you literally have buildings that are made up of blocks, like that are made out of plastic. You have fabric, you have, as I mentioned, like every today basically we are just trying to look for a solution, for a more sustainable solution. For I mean,
True.
when I hear these ideas, it is amazing. Like recently on social media, I came across an invention where they were actually, I don't know how to say it the right way, they were creating water out of air.
Oh yes.
Like there's so much of amazing innovation that you come across, and
Right.
I'm all for it. It excites me. Like also, like on my entrepreneurial journey, I think I'm constantly like looking for collaborations like so it really excites me when I come across like these phenomenal ideas, because it also gives me hope that there are so many people that are now thinking about this.
Yeah. So now you're happy about the fact that business is just not monetary, but it's coming up with a purpose.
You don't have a choice. There's no choice left.
Right.
Because you also have to understand that the consumer demographic has changed so much. Today, the youth cares about this.
Agreed.
And the module of business has always been you have to cater to what people need, and this is the need of the hour. So I don't know if this shift if the shift has happened because of moral reasons. I would really like to believe so. Or whatever the reasons are, there is a certain change in consumption behavior that has happened. It's not enough, but there's a very big change when you have the biggest of the biggest conglomerates, going for sustainable practices. It
True.
says enough.
That's true. I mean, sustainability is a word that's something that you keep on hearing nowadays from your corporates to an individual. It's probably become one of the most important pillar for an organization.
Absolutely, one of the most active conversations.
Well, on that note, let me try and close this. How would Bhumi spend a Sunday if they had to be dedicated to climate change? What would the day look like?
Oh wow. I don't know. See, usually on Sundays there's always some beach cleanup that happens.
Right.
If I'm not shooting, I would definitely be at one. Sunday is also a time that I do a lot of where I acquire a lot of my knowledge, because that's when I get some time.
True.
So it could be watching documentaries, reading up, sitting with my family. And my family is like very dedicated to the cause. And yeah, I think pretty much that, and just making sure that all the rules that have been set to have a bit of a circular economy within my household is being followed.
Okay, I guess we should plan a campaign together. Yeah, take a Sunday from your busy calendar and be like, let's
be
do
great.
something for
Sure.
this one. On that note, guys, I am sitting with a woman with her goal, Bollywood actress Bhumi Pednekar.